Hey everyone, it's Jamie with Zenergy Wellness. Hope everyone is doing amazing. I wanted to come on today and talk about a pretty hot topic, which is manifesting. And I wanted to give my perspective on, why some things don't work that are very traditionally taught in, how to manifest, and also ways to put things into perspective for you so you can really be in a place of allowance instead of being in a place of resistance. So, first, I want to talk about kind of what manifestation looks like. So, let's say we're here. We're at this place right now, and all of our dreams, all of our desires, sort of our end result, which there is really no end result because we keep expanding, but just for the sake of understanding, let's just say we'll say that one of the big things you want to manifest is here. So let's say that's financial freedom, whatever that looks like for you, because I know that's a big one for a lot of people. So one way you can kind of look at things is you're here, okay? There's a big river, we'll say. You're here, financial freedom is here, and here's this windy river. It's going all different directions. You reach places in it where, it's deeper, it's more shallow in some areas, there's more current, it's, really bumpy in some spots, other spots are really, really smooth. The terrain looks different, on the sides of the river, things like that. You see different things. You can't see things when you're around a corner. So basically, you're here and you're going to get on this inner tube, right? Well, a lot of people want to shoot a straight line over here. But what you're missing is the things that are, on this journey, on this floating, right? This allowance along this space. Because everything is divinely orchestrated, everything is divinely timed. So things pop up in your experience, not to try to set you off track, though that often happens, but to provide contrast for you to get really, really solid in what you want to happen over here. So you get on. Again, it's not a straight shot, but people make it that way, so they miss out on a lot of things, and what they do is they actually provide a lot of resistance. So instead, you can get on this tube and you can float along and be really, really grateful and feel really blessed for the things that you see along the way, right? So maybe something pops up where you're coming along and you see something that, you don't really desire, or a bill comes, to try to throw you off track. But the goal really is to be able to maintain that positive space, maintain that energy as if you already have this over here. So I want to back up a little bit and give you another analogy before we get more into this river. So a lot of the times people really kind of get things backwards. So you can ask somebody, what do you want to manifest? And they say, money. Okay, well, why do you want money? Because I want to build a cabin in the woods. Okay, well, why do you want to build a cabin in the woods? Well, because it's quiet and peaceful. Okay, well, what does being in a peaceful place bring to you? And you're like, joy. It brings me joy. Or maybe it brings me peace, right? So instead of looking at it like I need money first to get me into this space, what we want to do is practice being in that space, being in joy, being in that peaceful state. And when we are that's when those things start manifesting. That's when we get the money to build the cabin in the woods, right? So we have to look at it, we kind of have to dig a little deeper, right? And kind of pull it apart to get to what we really, really, really want to manifest. So that part's really important. But again, allowing the things to kind of flow along the journey. So I love this analogy from Abraham Hicks, by the way, and it really talks about, Kind of how, like, when you go into a room and it's dark. Well, you flip the light on, but you wouldn't know it was light if it wasn't already dark, right? So it's being able to have that contrast to be able to produce more results. But what Abraham says, which cracks me up, is like, think if somebody called your phone and was like, "Hey, you don't know me, but I'm never going to call you again." And you're just like, okay, right? There's no contrast there. You don't know that person, you don't know that space, so who cares, right? So having that contrast, it's not the universe working against you. It's not your manifestations not working. It's just to get really clear on what you do want by seeing the things that you don't want. But it's really important not to give any of those things energy, because you can't focus on what you want and what you don't want at the same time. And another great explanation for this, another awesome Abraham teaching, by the way, is, you're a train and you're on this train track and you start saying, I desire money, I desire financial freedom, I desire, and the train starts moving in this direction. And you're like, because I don't want to be broke, because I don't want to struggle, because, well, now you're not moving anywhere, because your train can't go in both directions at the same time. So that's why getting really, really clear on what you want, as in how you would feel as if you already have it. And I can expand on this so much more fully, but I'm just trying to give you a really easy basis of it. So going back to the river, so you're floating down and you're here, right? And you see something and you get all frustrated because you think you're moving backwards. So you try paddling upstream because this is like really, really uncomfortable. But if you would just allow the process to happen and remember really what the desired goal is, and really get in that place of how you would feel here, you would see that once you came around this corner, the waters are really, really clear and it's a lot easier to navigate, right? But what you did in that process is you made that goal and that desire even bigger, right? Because you saw some things you didn't want, you didn't dwell on them, you didn't give them any momentum, and it just made this thing even bigger. And a lot of the times, like I said, it's just you're moving along and you can't see that right now, so you give up. So that's another thing that's so important, is really keeping the consistency. I talked about in the subconscious mind video about like affirmations and why I think a lot of the times they don't work for people, and it's because we have this subconscious programming that's not just in our brain, it's in our cells, it's in our entire energetic field. And they're false programs. We've believed these for so long that they become sort of our reality. And the subconscious mind is so powerful. Go back and listen to that video if you haven't. But when you're used to being in that false programming, say you're super broke, right? And you're used to being in that space, and then you start these affirmations like, I am a millionaire, I'm financially free, and your subconscious mind's like, bullshit, you're not. And so there's resistance there. So you have to be able to create those that flow with more ease. So being able to choose things that don't create a lot of resistance in that subconscious programming. So really, really general things that you can start kind of building momentum on, to where your subconscious mind's like, okay, that doesn't feel that bad. Okay, well, okay, now I'm thinking that's sort of feeling kind of good. Okay, oh, that's the truth. Now that's the truth. So now you can expand more fully on those affirmations. So one thing I like to do, instead of, I know people talk about like I am statements or whatever. I like to say like, I am ready to accept, or I accept this now, or, I allow this now, rather than just saying like, I am this. Do you know what I mean? Just using kind of words that, again, don't create a lot of resistance to the subconscious. And you'll know, because you'll know how they feel. So hopefully that provides a little bit of clarity for you guys. So Don't worry if you see the contrast happening. Don't worry if you can't see the end result. Just stay really consistent in your knowing, in your faith that that is going to happen, and understanding that all these things that are happening for you, not to you. They're happening for you. And that's all that that contrast is there to provide, is to make these goals, these desires, these dreams even bigger than you initially intended. So I hope that makes sense. I hope that gives you some perspective that you can expand on, and to be able to really start doing things without resistance, to start doing things more with ease, and being able to really kind of tap into that flow. So, one thing you can do is get really, really clear on, the feeling that you would have if those things already came into fruition, and then doing things that make you feel that way. So maybe it's joy, okay? And maybe you really, really love animals like me, right? I know no matter what, if I'm in a crap mood and I'm with my dog, like, I'm good. Like, I am just good. Or if I watch videos of kids or, things like that. Or for me, getting on a hockey rink, like, that brings me joy, right? And then I get in that space of joy. I start, getting momentum of being in that space. And then all these things start coming into my experience that would normally produce joy, because I'm already vibrating with that. I'm a match to that. So I'm attracting all those things. So even if you can't physically see what you want to manifest, just grab onto the other things, even if they're seemingly small things. Grab onto those things to start building up that momentum to put you in that space. Another big thing that I did that was awesome, to just kind of take this to another level, is the vision boards and things like that are really, really great. But again, spend some time each day, put it in a place where you can see it and walk by it and look at those things and actually physically feel the emotion, feel what it would feel like to have those things, taste it, touch it, smell it. Just use your senses because they're so powerful. And again, start using things outside of that vision board that give you those emotions and give you that feeling. And I guarantee you, if you start doing that and these things start coming into your experience and you start really being aware of these things that are coming in and knowing that they're for you because you're aligned with them, writing them down, being grateful for them, those things are all going to start building up more and more momentum, which is going to start attracting those bigger things into your experience. So I hope that made sense for you guys. But if you want to reach out, if you have any specific questions, my contact info is down below, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Thanks.